everyone, my name is Uma Chandrasekhar and this is my first video series. In this series, I am exploring the topic of deliberation, the essence of executive leadership. Here, I am bringing the eminent aspects of the process of deliberation, which is rational and data-driven. Welcome to the 34th video episode. This is the first full episode to be recorded in 2026. I wish my audience a happy new year. May your wishes to gain knowledge on leadership be granted. Also, 2026 happens to be the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America. I am planning to wear a small insignia of American flag while I am recording these videos, as the focus of these video logs is United States of America. As in the previous episodes, let me begin with a recap. I started to explore the two-factor theory influencing deliberative leadership in the 31st episode and continue to do so in the following episodes too. In the last episode, I introduced the topic on originality. Let me focus on the same and its impacts on the process of deliberation and deliberative decisions in this 34th video episode. The concept of originality is the basis of our existence. Any person, place or thing is termed original when it is tied to its origin, as the word original is derived from origin. Our origin is our identity and our originality springs from our inner effort to be recognized as ourselves. When a person is misidentified as someone else, he or she loses originality and their association to their origin weakens. Hence, the core role of associating a person to his or her origin is to enable the basic functionalities of an individual. As I mentioned functionalities, let me also mention that the best functionality granted to us by nature is our decision-making skills. The choice is common to animals too, as they choose to follow a prey or not, similar to other species of living things on earth such as birds, fishes, insects, etc. As I mentioned before, slides are provided in this video log series for those who are taking notes. By the way, the image which is being currently shown is the motto of my high school, and the impacts of this motto have stayed on me even today as I strive to be original through achieving perfection. The terms originality and recognition are often considered as a challenge to traditional practices, especially since they have become the representative words of minorities and disadvantaged groups based on race, ethnicity, gender, and sexuality. The emancipatory movements such as Black Lives Matter, #MeToo, feminist rights group, American Indian movement, etc., and the reactionary counter movements such as All Lives Matter, men's rights organizations, etc., have fueled more than required hate and violence into the current society, and I'm not planning to add any grease to it. Hence, this topic is not challenging any traditional status quo on recognition-based social justice, but merely a detail on the ways and means through which deliberation is used to recognize originality as human beings, as social groups, as political groups, etc., based on the inherent capabilities of the humans, such as heuristics and cognitive qualities. Originality is a part of our creativity, as many models of creativity, which includes fluency and adaptability. The three dimensions of creativity, which are originality, fluency, and flexibility, it is possible using these three dimensions of creativity. It is possible to measure the levels of creativity of an individual or an organization. Thus, the three dimensions of creativity serves as the metrics which helps us to develop creativity. As in the saying, if an aspect cannot be measured, it cannot grow. While fluency is the total number of ideas created, flexibility is the number of different ideas created, and originality is the number of different ideas created in the same domain. Creativity is also associated to human creation, which is attributed to our physical and mental ability. Many religions argue that human beings are reflections of God, made in His own image. If the statement is true, we are reflections of many gods in heaven, as we are different in everything starting from our face to our fingerprints or our irises, and thus we identify ourselves physically using those technologically innovative human recognition capabilities, which differentiates us as individuals and brings us together as social and political groups. In other words, this topic of role of originality in deliberate decisions explores the limitations of human beings with respect to the human factors such as mind and body. In the 24th to 28th video episodes, I investigated the topic of role of adaptive practices in deliberate decision making through exploring IQ and EQ tests, and then I identified the role of heart and brain in deliberation. Nevertheless, the current topic on originality in deliberation explores the limitations of human body and mind through revisiting concepts such as decision making through bounded rationality, rational irrationality, and theory of uncertainty in detail. The topic also details the finer concepts of mechanical decision making or analytical decision making. As I have given a short introduction to the role of originality, I want to continue from there. Nonetheless, it's curtains down and time's up for the first video log, and so I will come back in the second video log of this episode, this 34th video episode, to investigate the role of originality in deliberation. See you in the next video. Hi everyone, I am Uma Chandrasekhar, and this is the second vlog of the 34th video episode, where I am focusing on the topic of role of originality in deliberation through revisiting topics such as bounded rationality, rational irrationality, and theory of uncertainty to reinforce the underlying human concepts in deliberation. The first talking point is deliberation using bounded rationality. Deliberation using bounded rationality argues that in practical scenarios, human beings cannot deliberate in complete rationality as described in economic models, which is presumptive and based on perfect knowledge of data and unlimited cognitive abilities. The concept was introduced by Herbert A. Simon, the Nobel laureate, in the 1950s, and it is based on behavioral economics and decision-making theory that recognizes the limitations of human abilities attributed to human factors such as constraints of time, limitations of cognitive abilities, and availability of data, which defines the originality of any human being, as we are different people in core essence, constrained by our body component, which is physics due to our DNA, and our mind component, which is our ability to acquire and decipher information, which is attributed to our IQ and EQ, along with our ability to stay motivated to learn and grow. Bounded rationality helps to solve real-life problems. As per bounded rationality, there is nothing called perfect or the one, as the optimal solution is non-existent in many problems and people. So people use the available data and time to arrive at the best possible solution under any given circumstance. I want to underline the word possible in the best possible solution because the possibility happens as the mathematical probability increases towards 1. The probability of 1 is the best, the perfect, which is highly impossible under many given real life circumstances. Many students might agree with me. If any of you are students and you are listening to my podcast, many students or many of you might agree with me that getting a perfect score of 100 in every exam is a near impossibility. In other words, the idea of the one, the best, the good is contemplated in bounded rationality as it helps to render clear and simple solutions which are adaptable through recognition of cognitive load of an individual human being and through understanding the implications in the design of good decisions, policies, and strategies. The vital idea behind decision making using bounded rationality is the utilization of heuristics to arrive at complex decisions. Heuristics are grammatical constructs of human brain a human being which is bounded by the brain's cognitive capabilities. In simple words, they are mental shortcuts or thumb rules used by many to assess and conclude a topic by choosing one of the available options. I have listed a small number of examples for heuristics, and they are as follows. The first one being availability heuristics. Availability heuristics are bounded by the readily available data and highly useful in time-bound decisions. The concept behind availability heuristics is time and data. If the time is limited, you got to work within the time limit. If the data is insufficient, then you have to make a decision with that limited quantity of data. A decision by a car driver to stop or swerve in a given situation is often a good example of on-the-spot or time-bound decisions. The second heuristics I'm planning to discuss is imitation heuristics. Imitation heuristics are bounded by a strong tendency to imitate a successful practice, and it is highly useful in political strategies and decisions. Examples for this type of heuristics is a political candidate often uses a popular president or a prime minister's quote to gain votes. The concept of imitation heuristics clearly demonstrates association, as the political candidate tries to link his or herself to the famous president or prime minister, thus emphasizing the origins. The third heuristics is called satisfying heuristics, which is the ability to search the available options and pick one of the options which exceeds the expectation levels. This is not time bound, but this is data bound, as the pick has to be made within the given list of names. I can state an example again for this as well. A pick of valedictorian in a school or college is done from an available list of students. I want to continue on, as I have two more heuristics to list under the topic of deliberation using bounded rationality, but my video logs are time bound too, and hence I complete the second video log and also the 34th video episode. I will come back in the next episode, which is the 35th episode of this video log series titled Deliberation, the Essence of Executive Leadership, and finish the 4th and the 5th heuristics. I also plan to continue with the topic of role of originality in deliberative decisions through revisiting rational irrationality and theory of uncertainty to reinforce the concept of originality. If you have viewed my video this far, you deserve a thank you. Thank you for listening.